Hello and good evening to our lecturer, Puan Farah. And today, me and my friend will represent about our FYP project. The topic is ground improvement using nanomaterials, limestone. Our panel is Dr. Pan Barasi, anak perempuan Govi Dasami, and each of us is Sivanech, anak lelaki Maya Chandran, myself Muhammad Hafizarul bin Muhammad Fauzi, and Muhammad Kamarul Adam bin Saiful Nizam. Going for next slide, we have content. Number 1, we have background project. Number 2, design process. Number 3, problem statement. Number 4, objective of the project. Number 5, the project. And lastly, expect result. Okay, going for next slide, we have design process based on FYP. Design process 1. How and who was targeted for the attempt study based on the student FYP? How? So how we proceed with this FYP project? From feedback from the student and lecturer of Civil Engineering Department. Second, interview the villagers at Cameron Highland. And lastly, do some survey studying using a Google Form platform to do some survey regarding to effectiveness of this product, or what are the possibility to face accident at Cameron Highland before we make a change about the soil at Cameron Highland. Next, the also design process 1. How and who was targeted for the attempt study based on the student FYP? Who is it we based on this project? The residential area and shop lot at Cameron Highland, the resident and shop owner. And second, we have civil engineering student and lecturer. So last, for my part, we have design process 2. The method that are used to define the problem are: number 1, clarify the problem which could lead the incident happen, such as slope failure. Second, choose an idea that we use to conduct this study. For example, the experimental procedure and its response in detail. Third, we have conduct the pupil view and their needs to be exposed with the new idea that has been generated. So that's all from me. Next, I will pass this presentation to Muhammad Kamarul Adam.
Thank you to my friend to give me to present. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Kamarul Adam bin Saiful Nizam, and my metric number is 01DKA20F2019. And now I will continue about the final FYP. And this, you can see, is a response from our Google form. And you can see I have 3 questions. And the first question is, do you think landslide rate should be reduced with specific way? And almost 100% is agree. And the number 2 question is, the research could give a massive impact toward the ground of geotechnical engineer under IR 4.0, which use new technology. And also 100% is agree. And the last of the question is, soil improvement using lime can be used worldwide in upcoming era. And also 100% agree. And now, I will continue about the design process based on FYP. Design process 3. Show the user and non-user feedback data using an appropriate template. First, the target stakeholder, we have JUPEM, Jabatan Ukur dan Pemetaan Malaysia. And next, we have Majlis Daerah Cameron Highland. And lastly, for target stakeholder is Polytechnic Engku Omar. And now we move to the problem statement. The problem statement, we have 3. The study carried out of Cameron Highland, Pahang, by purpose of ground improvement. There are lack of ground improvement study carried out based at this particular zone. The study will carry out everywhere, but not done locally. The study will carry out using a particular type of sample, but our research will use different type additive as in nanomaterial for which is lined. The second is this study may found an evidence in many ways using different types of experimental procedure and research, but our study going to conduct based on new technology in geotechnical engineering field. Earthquake induced dynamic force, especially dynamic shear force that reduce the shear strength and stiffness of the soil, and erosion change the geometry of the slope, ultimately resulting in slope failure or more like a landslide. The last of the problem statement is, in addition, long period of rainfall storage soften and erode soil. Moreover, the external load also can be as a significant factor that contribute toward the weak ground. This factor may lead to the ground weakness and lead to slope failure, landslide, and many more. In general, the economic impact of a slope failure is a result of the disruption of the plan or fit during the time required to restore the site, and the additional cost caused by this activity constitute a significant risk to human activity and is often accompanied by the destruction of property, injured, and loss of life. And next, we move to the objective of the project. The main objective of the project have five: to improve bearing capacity of ground, to develop the density of the soil, and number three, to control sentiment and permeability to the applied ground, and number four, to mitigate the coefficient of ground that associated with nanomaterial, and the last of the objective is to boost slope stability of ground. Next, I will pass to my partner, Sivanesh, and that's all from me. Thank you very much.
A very good day to everyone. My name is Sivanesh Chandran and my matrix number is 01DK820F2022. So I'm going to continue with the presentation. So I'm going to talk about the scope of this project. Basically, this research focuses on the technical engineering properties which mainly focus to ground improvement by using nanomaterial, which we chose is limestone soil, to incorporate sustainability consideration in ground improvement, method selection and implementation, development of practical, economical and environmentally safe biochemical methods for soil stabilization and liquefaction risk mitigation while carrying out this study. The duration of this research is about 10 months. This study also describes about the development of improved and more reliable methods for evaluating the long-term durability of the soil mix with nanomaterials, which is limestone soil, to increase the soil's strength. Limestone soil could give a big impact to the strength of the soil under two categories, which are chemical characteristics and also physical characteristics. The chemical characteristics will undergo with a few experimental procedures to detect and record the feasibility study of the mixture of limestone to the ground. The chemical reaction study may be based on the experiment procedures such as X-ray diffraction analysis, which is also called as XRD examination. Next, we're going to see about the second method that have been used in this study. X-ray analyzers determine the chemistry of a sample by measuring the fluorescent or secondary X-ray emitted from a sample when it is excited by a primary X-ray source. Each of the elements present in a sample procedures a set of characteristics: fluorescent, X-ray, a fingerprint that is unique for the specific element. Energy dispersive or wavelength dispersive detectors were used to find the emitter's X-rays, while concentrations, which is also known as the quantities, were determined by X-ray intensity energies or wavelength, were employed to identify the elements present in these samples. With the help of the Bruker S4 Pioneer model, XRF analysis carried out on the narrative materials, namely Cameron Highlands sample soil, and in other ends, lime or nanolime, to determine the chemical composition and development and understanding of anticipated reacts. The last study used towards this study is FESM, Field Emission Scanning Electron Microscopy, which is also known as the FESM, provides topographical and anomalous significations of a soil sample that is used in this study in general. The next thing I'm going to explain on is about the design process for. Here we can clearly see how the design process for is going on. Firstly, we're going to get the sample soil from the Cameron Highlands, Pahang, because we have been chose that area as a study place for our research. So we're going to get the soil sample from the Cameron Highlands, Pahang, and we're going to detect of the nanomaterial, which is limestone soil usage towards this soil improvement through the XRD test, FESEM test, XRF test. So these all three tests will undergo the IR 4.0 method technology, which has been used towards this study of researchers. After obtaining all the result from through the XR test, XRF test, FESEM test, some other shear strength and also density tests that have been carried on based on the soil samples that we have been added with the additive, which is limestone soil. So we will be get through a lot of data and also calculations based on the soil samples that we have been gave from the Cameron Highlands, Pahang. So the data obtained and the ability of soil improvement using nanomaterial, which is lime, is studied basically in these researches. Next, I'm going to briefly explain about the design process 5, which is based on this research. Okay, this is about the technology used, which is XRD test, XRF test, FESEM test. So these all tests will be known as the technological for nowadays, which is for use geotechnical engineering under the civil department. So the XRD test, XRF test, and also FESM test will be used as a new technology at the several departments or even the offices. The project criteria based on this research is about the IR 4.0. IR 4.0 is meaning to the Industry Revolution 4.0 under the all the technological that we have been used in this study.